Hello, thank you so much for being here. I'm Philip Wolf, and many of you saw the article that I wrote recently on Rolling Stone around the importance for people in the cannabis and psychedelic industries to decolonize their mind. And this was obviously on rollingstone.com, but before I put it out on any of my own platforms, I inserted the article into a local a Colorado psychedelic community chat group. And in this, I asked for critical feedback. There's a lot of Indigenous voices that are represented in this chat. There's a lot of difficult conversations that unfold in this chat. And the reason that there's many difficult conversations that unfold in this chat is because of Prop 122, which is the Natural Medicine Health Act here in Colorado, which was voted on in November of 2022. And that is to decriminalize all natural occurring medicines outside of peyote, which still lies in the hands of the Native American Church, as well as create a legal pathway to therapeutic psilocybin use, which will more than likely have licenses going out by the end of this year. So there's tension in this chat because what is the right way for this movement to unfold? Or is it an industry? And I testified in front of the Senate. I testified in front of the House when the draft bill came out almost a year ago. And what I really realized was the exploitation that is going to happen in ceremony. There's also so much exploitation that's going to happen with these plants. And these plants are relational to Indigenous people. I'm doing my best to allow myself to see all things in this world as my kin, but I can't say that I am able to do that. But I absolutely believe that all of the plants are sentient, the waters, the rocks. Obviously, the animals that walk this earth. So it's important for these Indigenous voices to be heard, and it's especially in this chat, because they're protectors. They're protectors of Mother Earth. There's 6 to 8% of Indigenous people who take up the world's population, and I believe they protect 80% of the world's biodiversity. So whether you have a passion for the psychedelic and entheogen, plant medicine movements, whatever you want to call it, I'm not going to get into particulars right now. Whether you want to support the earth and the global warming crisis that we're in, it's important to listen to these Indigenous voices. And so I put this in there and asked for critical feedback because I want to know the truth. I want to be the best man that I can be in this world. And I pray that I always do that, to not be in self-service, but in service to the whole. And there's so much nuance to that I'll save for another time. And so when I asked for critical feedback, I got critical feedback. Yeah. And it was really important for me to receive this because it allowed me to have deeper understandings. And so this feedback came from someone who we're going to call G. And G is an Indigenous person that is involved in local Colorado communities. She does a lot of incredible work. So we are going to post our conversation that we had, our back and forth that we had in the public eye. I did ask permission to do this and was granted that permission. I hope that this can serve as a example of how we can get into difficult conversations so we can allow what's unfolding with these natural medicines, with psychedelic medicines, to weave into our society as best as possible. And, many people believe that that's not happening right now. So the Signal group is here, local to Colorado. There's a lot of leaders who are in this Signal group in Colorado. Many people in this group are probably people who you know. I'm not going to name anybody. I'm not going to speak more into Prop 122, but I'll have a link in to Prop 122, some articles so people can dive into that. Below, I'm going to have my article and then followed up with the text, exactly how it appeared in our chat. I'm not going to try to give context to the text because I just want it to speak for itself. I also acknowledge that this conversation is still going on. Maybe there's going to be a follow-up to this. Maybe there won't. I don't know yet. I really want to praise G for putting herself out there. Yeah, really beautiful for her to have the courage to speak up the way that she did, and also very vulnerable for her to do the same. And her vulnerability is different than my vulnerability because while I'm showing up in a way that I could potentially be canceled if I don't know, everyone knows that cancel culture now. She could be in a place of getting persecuted by people who don't agree with her point of views, from people who are racist, from people who, hold corporate greed and want to attack people for having these types of views in the world. So yeah, thank you, G. And I just want to let everyone know it's so important for us to listen to Indigenous voices. It's so important. And me coming from a place of privilege, I hope I can uplift Indigenous voices. Who am I as a white man to write the article that I did? I felt it was important, as for people to start understanding this. People are going to question, the work that I've done in this world. For those who know me, they absolutely know. For people who followed me for a long time, they absolutely know. And I'm happy to take questions. G does the work. Yeah, G does the work, shows up. Thank you, G. I'm really grateful, and also just want to share gratitude for all the Indigenous people out there who are expressing themselves in ways in which can be vulnerable, potentially lead to persecution. You are all brave, and I commend you. Thank you to all the people who are supporting those voices. So yeah, what is below is a link to my article. I might have links to Prop 122 so people can understand, and then we'll have sort of the feed of just G and I's conversation, no one else's conversation within that. There was some other side notes in there. There was some praise for my article. There's also some people who were upset as I boxed all of Western European into each other as one, opposed to, really understanding how the Irish were persecuted, colonized, as well as other cultures in Western Europe. So I'm not going to get into that at this point. And yeah, I just hope that this can serve as an inspiration to you all. I hope that this can bring deeper understandings and to have these types of conversations. I want to preference the importance of listening on all sides. I have strong opinions. I always want to be curious. I can't say that they're always the truth, and hopefully people understand that as well. I'm not holding shame around myself for the article. There were some things that I wanted to include that I should have held strong in, and I didn't. But the shame piece is something, as a white man and coming into these conversations, I was raised in this world in a certain way, as Indigenous people were. And I have many imprints, as Indigenous people have many imprints, as all people have many imprints. This is something that we have to understand. Let's love each other. Let's trust each other. Let's try to be the best humans that we can. We are stronger as one. We are all one. Okay. So much more that I can say. Thank you for taking the time to go through this. Happy to receive feedback. You can do that in the comments below. Everything will stand. Nothing will be deleted. And we'll allow the public eye to determine whatever it wants to determine. And I will do my best to respond to everything. Thank you so much. Love and light.